How would you like to know the secret, the true secret, not some clickbaity headline just to grab your attention, of how to market to men? Marketing to men, it seems like a very easy thing to do. We are very simple creatures. I can attest to that. But today we are joined by an expert who knows everything, the science, the methodology, and best practices for how to market your business to men. Hello and welcome back to Midwest Mindset, the podcast that makes marketing easy to understand and simple to do. I'm your host, Matt Tompkins of Two Brothers Creative, where we believe every business deserves affordable and effective marketing. We're joined today by Jess Goldoni of Limitless Mail. Now, Jess, she has overseen marketing. She does that for Limitless Mail, among many other things, but she has been in this marketing universe of ours for many, many years, and she sees all the different aspects and angles. Now, Limitless Mail doesn't just serve men. Turns out women are actually who they're trying to reach the most for some of the decision-making power behind whether or not a man even steps in the front door in the first place. We'll get to that as we will give you the secret of marketing to men in this episode of Midwest Mindset. We're also joined by our new COO, yes, Chief Operations Officer, which sounds way too fancy of a title for anybody here at Two Brothers Creative. Tracy Winkler is with us as we get into this conversation about how to market your business to men. You're a business trying to market to men. Today we're going to give you the secret to marketing to men. And it's not like that's not a clickbait thing. Like, this is an actual reveal. Tracy, I want you to you tell me if this is typical or not. So women make these decisions like medical healthcare, we're going to talk about today. And I think it's been 3 months now since I had my abdomen tear trying jiu-jitsu for the first time.
Yes.
Like an idiot.
Yes.
And I couldn't go in to see a specialist because my insurance had lapsed and expired. And ask me if I have called to get my healthcare insurance reinstated.
Matt?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's what happens with men. Like, it's like we can't, I don't know what it is that prevents us from making decisions. We will procrastinate. We will put things off, do things that are a detriment to our own health. Mm-hmm. We'll stay with a brand or a product when it's hurting us or it's bad for us, or we can see the better option is clear in front of us. So let's crack through this today and help. I'll be the guinea pig representative for men, and let's correct this marketing error, because it's important for business owners to know. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're talking about today. Jess, do you feel like you are the queen of this particular topic? Because you seem very confident talking about this today when you came in.
The queen, really? I would say that I do have quite a bit of experience. Marketing in general. I mean, been in the industry about 20 years now. Marketing to all different demographics, but when you're at someplace like Limitless Mail and you are specifically talking to men, and there's just a lot of nuances and things that you wouldn't have thought through, especially when you're creating content like we all are as business owners for clicks and SEO and creating content for Google, and then you start to forget that you're actually trying to talk to someone and get a message across to that person. And so the first thing that you have to do is figure out who are you talking to. Mm-hmm. And if you're talking to a man, how do they hear information and how do they remember things? And like you said, if they don't even make an appointment to their doctor, I remember when I first, started
insurance.
Have insurance. Yeah, renew their insurance. I remember my husband and I first got together. I mean, he still saw his childhood dentist because his mom still made appointments for him.
I went 16 years.
Yeah. And then he went,
And we do have an issue over here.
And I didn't have a single cavity. I've never had a cavity. Like, everything was good. It was just like, I just don't, it's this weird mental block.
The same thing happened to him. He hadn't seen one in 10 years, and he goes in and he has a clean bill. I'm like, oh my goodness. But yes, so we first got together. First thing we did, dentist and doctor.
We talked about this, and we'll post the link to this episode, because we did one all about your buyer persona, like who is your ideal customer. Mm-hmm. And like you said, that's really where you want to start. But we called it Al Capone syphilis syndrome, because that's what killed Al Capone. And he went to prison, he contracted syphilis. And he, like most men, he just didn't want to think about it.
Right.
Nope, doesn't exist. And they said, hey, penicillin came out a few years ago. It's going to it's going to clean this out. You're going to be good.
Right.
Clean bill of health.
Easy.
Otherwise, this could kill you.
Yep.
Nope. Not going to think about it. Died like 5 years later of syphilis. It went to his brain, ate his whole brain away. So he became like just, it is, there's no like rational or justifiable reason for why us make these decisions, and they end up killing us.
Correct. There's actually, though, I know that it doesn't seem rational, but there are actually studies done that men aren't supposed to get sick.
Yeah.
Men aren't supposed to be weak.
Correct.
Men aren't supposed to have something wrong with them. And they see it as a moral failing, that something about them is broken or wrong, or and they internalize it. They don't see it as just, oh, well, I have an illness or I have a sickness that there is a cure for and I can fix this problem. For such, problem fixing focused people, it's very interesting.
Do you agree that's the opposite for women?
We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We
talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, it's, how do you address this? And, oh, you started feeling that? Oh, well, you should go do XYZ. And I found this person. And, oh my gosh. And did you hear about this? And, oh, you're starting
connecting all the dots.
Oh, we communicate and connect it all all the time. Men
doesn't shut off.
Yeah.
Right. Men aren't not trained, but men aren't they aren't grown that way.
Yeah. I mean, Tracy is our new COO here at Two Brothers Creative, and she's got her own company, Elevate to Grow. So it's like she's multitasking. She's
because I'm a female.
Well, yeah,
I don't know.
You are
natural.
I don't know. I've always looked up to and admired like female role models. So I look at like the mentors and people close to me in my life that like I surround myself with, all women. Like the only male like companion or friend I still have today, and I don't even hang out with him, is I can't, because he's such a bad influence and an enabler. But there aren't any of these, like, I don't have those male connections or role models in my inner circle. And so maybe that framed like a healthy new perspective on who you should actually be emulating and letting influence you. Because I hear this when I started, it's a Limitless Medical. They do among many things like the testosterone replacement treatment, so which I have done for I think 8-9 years, and I am not ashamed of it whatsoever. It was literally a life-changing experience. Your hormones control everything, it turns out, how you feel, your energy, your weight. And then the one thing like that men get hung up on is, well, yeah, erectile dysfunction can be a symptom. And I will never forget, I was doing radio ads on Sweet 98.5 where this had a friend call me and said, or message me. He said, "So dude, you can't get it up, huh?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I just heard your ad on the radio." It's like, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, your testosterone treatment." I'm like, "Well, no, like that could be a symptom. Usually that's not the main symptom. That wasn't a symptom for me. It wouldn't help if I got it up because I was so pale, fat, and lazy and just depressed. No one would want to be with me in the first place." And he's like, "Oh, what?" So 30 days later or so, he messages me, "Hey, do you think you could give me that contact there?" Because he heard the ads a few times, heard me talking about the lethargy, the depression, all these other symptoms that he has. So that's like the problem. Would you say that's the main problem, is you have to overcome men's own roadblocks they put in?
100%. I would say there's two main problems. You touched on a couple of key things there. The first thing is that one of the main symptoms of low T is depression and lack of energy.
Yep.
I would say the entire human population feels a little bit of that at any point. And so if a guy wants to take a nap when he gets off work and can't play with his kids, that's just a hard-working job.
Yeah.
That's not my health. I'm just depressed. I go to my doctor and I get on an antidepressant medication. We have so many patients that come in that have tried antidepressant medications and they're on all of these other things and they never had their testosterone checked. And that's the first thing.
The root cause.
They're not going to the root cause. And so what is wonderful to see is that they get to the root cause, they find out they're low, they get on treatment, they get their hormones balanced, and depression symptoms go away. They have energy. They're not tired. They're not foggy anymore. They want to play with their kids. And then the most beautiful thing for me, especially as a marketer, to see is our patients are our biggest fans. So what you just said, they are not shy about saying, "I'm on this, I tried this, I did this." And that's why testimonials are some of our best performing commercials.
Yeah.
And then our employees are huge fans too. Exactly. And I remember when I started here, I mean, sure, it's not a cancer center, that sort of thing, but we're literally saving lives. These men were, ready in the down dumps of their lives. I mean,
suicidal ideation. I mean, I went through addiction and stuff prior to that, so I was like a couple years in recovery, and I'm like, which that impacted my testosterone levels in some substantial ways, and I was still in such a low place. I mean, I was on a television show that was like #1 at the time. I was on mornings on Sweet 98.5. You would think I was living my dream, and I would literally pray a diary, a journal about, please run me off the road, somebody, because I can't live this way anymore. And I had no idea what the cause was. Antidepressants last 18 months. That's it. What every clinical study will show you. That's it.
And antidepressants cause ED.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and that's why I tried some in recent years. I'm like, no, this doesn't work. So but I think that you're talking about the decision making, what influences the decision making. And for me, I didn't have a woman telling me, my wife didn't say it. It was more, I got paid on the radio to do an endorsement. I'm like, sure, why not? I'll try it. And then turns out it was a life-saving thing. Unlike cancer, you actually have a solution. It's actually a problem solved, and you're not just treating the problem. Is that, Tracy, because you're married to a very successful, not an alpha, what'd you call him?
He's a Sigma.
Sigma male, which
Sigma
is
male.
Interesting.
He has the characteristics of an alpha, but yet he's still the lone wolf. He doesn't have to have the big ego.
Okay.
And so very independent. And it was interesting. The conversation took place for a year, kind of like the podcast. And, he didn't think this was an issue. And I'm like, it's just more than erectile dysfunction. It was not. That is not the issue. But he did have lower libido. There was signs of it. He was tired. He was not depressed, but the idea of him going in to do that was kind of just that's not for me.
Right.
And it took convincing. And finally, I kind of drug him in, got him in there. He trusted then the provider. And that's exactly how he just was like, yeah, let's start. And it changed exactly how he felt. He did not really have depression, but really he had more energy. He just muscle, his muscle, his skeletal,
mental
everything.
Health,
mental health, and his mental health was pretty. He's pretty stable. Now, unlike his wife, I don't know. Now,
is that by comparison?
Yeah, comparison. We don't even want to go there. I'm just saying, I gave him the chance. This is my second husband, my forever husband, I say. And I gave him the chance. I gave him an easy button when we first started dating. I said, basically, I don't cook, I don't clean, and I don't, and my family's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and here's an easy button, and you can run. And he said, I couldn't outrun you. Maybe if he had testosterone early on, he could have outran me. But honestly, it was like, now he thanks me. And it was just more like, a guy walking in there. I don't want to walk in. And in Grand Island, I don't want to walk into Limitless Mail and people see me.
Right.
Because someone's going to see me walking in. And so it's just the perception that men might have because it's not cool. Well, it is. Actually, it should be the opposite. What are these men doing? But he did pay attention. It was hard, and he listened to me, and I cracked the whip.
And it's interesting, though. We're talking about health, which is your health care is very sensitive. A lot of men are really stubborn about that topic.
Yes.
Myself included, obviously. But I want to get to these the kind of the 5 key areas that you brought today, because they apply. What we're talking about here doesn't apply to just healthcare. It's anything. This is universal. So if you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, and you have identified your buyer persona as a man. That's who you're trying to reach and connect with, to resonate deeply with, to build brand loyalty and make sales, close deals. These are the 5 things you have seen most commonly or work the most with what you do at Limitless Mail. Is that accurate?
I would agree. Yes, I think that's accurate.
We've established, men, how ridiculous we are. Now let's get to that's the problem. Let's get to the solution. So I mentioned decision making, and that was first that you put on your list. So how do men make decisions versus women making decisions?
So typically with a woman, it's definitely more of an emotional. Now we have our logical brain, we deal shop and we look for coupons, but men, it's definitely more of a logical. And that's what's so interesting about the stigma around men's healthcare, is because for such a problem solving group of people, and that's how they make decisions. They want to solve a problem. and they want it very focused, and they want it streamlined and logical, and tell me what I'm going to get at the end of this journey, and tell me you can get me there. And whether that's healthcare, whether that's buying a car, whether that's signing up for some service on a website, it's that logical thought process, and basically
What's the ROI? What's the
exactly what is the end goal? What are you going to fix? What am I going to get at the end of this?
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. And then they don't honestly care about price very much, and I'll get into that, but
nor the details along the way.
nor
What's
the
at the end?
details. They like to see it because then it proves that you know your stuff.
Yes.
They like to know the facts and figures, but what are you going to give me? What's the end? What's the problem? What's my problem that you're going to solve? Mm-hmm. How are you going to fix it? Mm-hmm.
One caveat I don't ask you about though, because you have your feeling brain, thinking brain with marketing. Is it because you mentioned how this is a legitimate problem that's being solved? It's proven. There's no doubt about it. Yet it takes them a while to commit or to come in. So is it really that they are truly problem solving and like pragmatic, realistic, or that they think that they are problem solving and pragmatic and realistic, and they're like, my identity is tied into this is the logical, rational decision, and that's how I do this. So I didn't buy this, car with giant tires and dangling truck nuts on the back because of my ego or my middle-aged crisis. No, it's because we have snow in Nebraska. And it's like, okay, well, that's quite the leap there. So it probably doesn't matter the end result, but
so now in that scenario, though, think about the end result. I mean, the end result he wanted was a kick-ass car or a kick-ass truck. Mm-hmm. So he just justified it with the logic.
Yeah, whether you're convinced you are or you actually are, it really doesn't really matter, because either way, you're going to make the decision based on this perceived or real thing identity you've created, right? So it's kind of like narcissism, where they create this reality and they believe it to their core. So you're never going to convince them, like, yeah, sorry, Bobby, you're walking around with no clothes on. They're never going to believe it if that's their identity. So,
I mean, to get to your point, scientifically, it's been proven men can be compulsive and they're driven by emotion.
Yes.
But if you're trying to sell them, if you're trying to communicate with them, you want to tie into that other side of them.
Yes.
So give them the logical, give them the functional, so that they can justify their emotional compulsive purchase.
And I will add, I introduced you to my husband earlier today, and he had to see a roadmap. He had to see that final vision before he got there, but very compulsive. And TikTok has really proven that, because we've got a lot of purchases that show up at the door because TikTok is right.
Can I tell you how many sales calls I've been in as a business owner, and they're like, in 5 minutes in, and like, okay, cool. And then like, well, let me tell you about the latest sale or special. Like, no, I'm good. Well, let me tell you, no, I'm like, you can stop. Like, I'm good. We had this the other day with one of our clients. He's like, Matt, you can stop selling.
He did.
I'm good.
He's like, no, I'm here. I just
I need to tell you everything that's included in here though. No, I'm good. I'm like, so we do that. Whereas like, no, I've made my decision. Now it's final. And then the scary thing is, we will double and triple down on that decision before second guessing it, which is probably why it takes longer for men to come around to coming in. So decision making style, at least appealing to that problem solving, that's a good, that's the first on the list here if you're trying to market to men. Brand loyalty.
I was going to say, you just segued perfectly, because you just explained it. You're going to triple and double and triple down on that decision. Well, I bought it. I bought these shoes and this brand, and it's fantastic. Men are very, very loyal. When they find something that they like, they will buy it in every color.
This whole episode is just like all the things Matt does wrong. That's what I feel like this is.
Not wrong at all.
In literally like 10 colors, and they're the same exact shoe.
It is.
And why?
Because I found them and I'm like, these are comfortable. They can be casual, but also work with like business casual. So I can have tennis shoes and not dress shoes to work. Same thing with the shirts. Like they fit, they're good, and I will never buy a different tennis shoe again.
Now, why Nike versus the new shoe company that you just found on TikTok?
I've never really liked low tops. Once I became turned on to these are like they brought these back as a throwback to like these 1970 style kill shots. Now these are called kill shots too. So it has this like kind of old school 70s nostalgic kind of vibe to it. So they're like new and cool, but I also realize like I'm 43, middle-aged white guy living in Omaha, Nebraska. I can't really pull off like the latest LeBron James that are like pink and bright baby blue. And I tried.
Oh, you totally could.
I bought a $220 pair of those and looked like a buffoon walking through the airport coming home from Chicago. I gave them away. That's how embarrassed I was to somebody else. So like these, I feel like I can pull off, right? So it's like they're cool enough, but they work my cool level. So that's why I went with these Nike. I used to be Adidas all the way, but like those were high tops. So it was a totally different version of me. It's like very personality, emotional driven for my purchases there.
But it's two very established brands that you just mentioned.
Yep.
So yes, there is a subset of men that will try new things, that like to be cutting edge, that like to discover the new thing that's on TikTok Shop and have it delivered to your home and all of these things. But the majority of men prefer an established brand.
Yep.
They prefer the legacy. They prefer knowing, oh, well, they've been around for decades. They've been around since 1970. They've been making these tennis shoes. LeBron James wears them. Michael Jordan wears them. I mean, it has this history. So there's that trust factor there. So with brands, they really do look for that established, larger brand, but also that that testimonial piece to it, and that brand that really speaks to them, and that's why they become loyal. So it's
Word of mouth you mentioned earlier.
Yes, word of mouth is huge. And so, it starts obviously when we're in school. Everybody else is wearing something, so you want to wear it. It drives trends, it drives purchases, our entire lives. But then also when a man, so when you said that you went from high tops to low tops, I like the low tops on these. They're comfortable. I look good in them. Once you have a good brand experience, 100% they're going to be loyal.
Oh, I'm that way too.
These guys take care of me. I go to the barber down the street. I've been going to him for 15 years. He cuts my hair exactly the way I want him. He gets me in and out. It's $15.
So,
and it's that loyalty. So you give him an established brand, and then you give him a great experience. And a consistent experience.
Head to toe, I'm proving your point today.
Yes,
I have
he is.
worn these exact same shoes, just different colors, exact same socks, just black or white, the exact same pants, just different colors, the exact same shirts, just different colors, the exact same Apple iWatch.
He is the poster child.
With the same band. The only reason I got a new one is because I got it as a gift for Christmas for the last 6 straight years. Like that has been, maybe last 4 or 5, like when I lost weight and I could like buy new clothes that fit better. But and I will always there's nothing more rewarding than buying a pair of, ironically, these are Adidas brand socks, but I will always go with these. It's like, it's bizarre. And now that you've described it that way, I feel like maybe I am a little bit of a sociopath, or maybe men are like a little bit leaning towards that degree of just like,
It's simple.
is it
I think
safety
it's
and
simple.
security?
It's safety, security, simplicity, and comfort.
And comfort's a big one.
Because the other side of that is, have you ever gone back to a company or a business, had a bad experience, but you're like, oh, they do me so good so many times, and I just got to give them another chance. You had a bad dinner, you had a whatever.
Casey's General Store.
There you go.
I love their pizza, and they had new management take over a bunch of locations, and you go in there and it'd be like noon, it'd be like 6 o'clock, and there's no food anywhere in there, and then there'd be no sodas. There's out of everything. There's the lines backed up to the front door, and I probably went in there 30 more times. Each time going, I can't keep doing this. It was like I was going back to a bad relationship, like an abusive relationship.
So I don't know about you. If I am done bad by a brand,
Yes.
I'm done.
Done permanently.
I'm done.
Usually I'm done right away. It depends on the product,
True.
but I'm more cut it off. We're done.
There's so much else
great
out
time.
there.
Yes.
There's new stuff out there. I can
so
get something
I'm
better.
more trying
It
the
sounds like
new
relationship advice almost too.
but it relates to relationship advice.
Yeah,
And
it is
I
a
think-
relationship, right? I mean,
I don't know if you can
It
talk about it
absolutely
now.
is a
We know we can talk about it. We've had better outcomes at this point
Yes, I
in our journey. Your outcomes are still negotiable.
I
but-
was the starter husband, so I'm like the other perspective, So
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True. So we can maybe take this episode on at another
Yes.
timing,
We could
bring
do
the relationships.
Yeah, there we go.
And ties into their buying, because the buying behaviors might change during parts of your relationship. Because you
didn't
might
even-
expand
I didn't even
in
think
your
about it
single
that way,
world.
Tracy. Like, this is really just another purchase decision for women. So I need to start marketing to these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. And I'm in marketing. How did I not think about that? That's ridiculous.
Because we
I'm a
want
little
something
embarrassed.
different. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
And that is why
They're willing to take a risk. So I should do my
Women are
mohawk,
willing-
dye my hair blue.
more willing to
and-
take a risk than a man in a relationship.
Agreed.
As well as they're buying.
Agreed. I would say willing to take a risk, but at the word of mouth thing, women are just much more free.
Absolutely.
With sharing the latest tips and tricks. And, oh, I went to this person over here and they do.
I don't know about you, but like my husband will say that. He's like, why do you share all that? Like, you just bought this dress from here, and why are you telling everybody where you bought it? And I'm like, because it's awesome. And I'm like, I want to help them. And
You
he
have to
wants it
share
super
that.
secret, like, and I'm like, what, are you the only one that can buy this stuff?
Well, yeah, because you want the exclusivity. You want.
Yes,
this
that's
is my
what men,
territory.
they want. Yes, territorial.
We want to share the love.
Yes.
We want to, if I had a great experience, I want everybody else to have a great experience, depending on what it is. Now, if there is something that's really good,
Yeah, you got to be a little close. You got to keep it, because what if it runs out for you? Because I've had that. Like, I've shared people that have, like, I've contracted to work with me, and they're killing it. And I'm like starting to tell people, I'm like, whoa, 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 I can't give up my juice here.
Right.
This is like, and so yeah, so there's some things it's like share to the world. Some things you're just your couple of your little friends.
Men share, but it's more ego driven. I want to share this with you because if you don't make the same decision as me, you're making an inferior decision. Like, dude, you got to try this. Man.
So I think
you're still using Android, you need to switch over to Apple. Like, iPhone's so much better. Like that type of a thing. I hear a lot of that.
interesting.
I think it also is like the personality of the person. So then you bring in their personality style. And we were mentioning alpha to sigma and different types of personalities. And so some men are like, they'll have their group and they are referring. My husband is one, just because we keep talking about it, he's not one to share a lot. He's just a more private guy. Now he watches TikTok and different things and finds what's the trends. But
Maybe with you, him and I, we have girls' night every Thursday night, and we share a lot. There's a lot of.
I don't need to know.
A lot of
I do not need to know what
rom-coms.
happened.
We watch What Women Want with Mel Gibson every week, and one of us.
What about your husband,
prepares a
Jess?
treat.
Does he watch the rom-coms? Or is he meeting with Matt too, and we don't know it?
He might be, and I might not know it.
It's like Fight Club, but it's with pajamas and men. We can finally embrace who we really are and not feel judged. So I can't tell you who's in the group. Sorry.
I will say they go on dates. Men go on. I
was like, with
married
Matt
men.
or-
No. Married men go on dates, and we can cut this. But they go out.
But no, you're right. They do. I mean,
They do.
They just watched the documentary about Ashley Madison. It's proven. I think they go on dates.
Him and his best
I'm
friends.
kidding.
You know what I mean? Bromances. He has a lot of bromances, and it's kind of fun.
There's nothing like
Is that where some of the buying comes from? Does he come home then with his bromances? And
that referral marketing.
yeah, is there referrals coming from that, or are these the guys that you don't do what they say to do?
A little bit of both. I would say yes, it absolutely happens because things show up the next day that I didn't expect from Amazon. Some new part and some new.
Oh, it's always parts.
yeah, it's always
backpack.
parts or backpacks or golf.
Let's talk about the lights that you and my husband both have.
Oh yeah, that's a referral one. Govee, Govee. If you
I am a Govee light person. I just bought them. They're all over my house. I have them automated. I have them on
my God.
Wi-Fi.
You know what else
everything
they have? They have heaters, little space heaters.
You're kidding.
They connect you up. I got one in my office. I bought 4 more for 4 female friends of mine who were cold all the time, and then they're amazing. You can turn them on. You can program them. It'll control the temperature
You
of the
didn't
room.
buy me one,
Well, we weren't like
friends.
at
That's okay.
this stage of our friendship at the time. So, but I'll give you one if you want. The Govee's one, there's so many brands like that that when you find something that you're passionate about and it's real, I think men really want to share it. It's not, I don't know for what motivation, but I've noticed that with Govee, I'm very passionate about you have to try this, or the brand of underwear I found for men. It's a game changer and how comfortable it is. Testosterone, same thing. So that passion, I think a lot of that stems from the validation level internally that the person has. So the decision-making style, problem solving, the brand loyalty, the straightforward communication is one that you talked about, and that faster buying decision process for men. It was your third that you mentioned. The digital strategy, and how you present this to men. So they're discovering you for the first time. What are the keys for that when you're marketing to men?
So there's a couple different things. You can think of digital as your website or just your advertising. So I can put some of the communication tips there too. Is not only is it straightforward and streamlined communication, but it needs to be simple to understand. And it's been proven that men may not need as many impressions and views of your ad that women do because it's a shorter cycle. They may buy faster. But if you give them a clear message, if you give them clear data in that ad, maybe throw in a little bit of humor or some sort of action or some sort of problem that you're solving. Facts and figures are good too. They will remember it easier and they will make that decision and they'll buy. With your website, for example, or any landing page, get to the point quickly. Don't give me all of this stuff. Don't give me all of this imagery and fluff. I mean, get to the point quickly, make it easy to navigate, make the shopping cart easy to get to. And you can put your claims in there too, but simple is key with everything.
3 seconds. That's what you have on when people go to a website. They call it the grunt test. Like if I was a caveman, would I pass this test in 3 seconds or less? Because if a caveman can understand it, that means it's as simple as it needs to be.
Right.
Like what is it that you do? What's the problem you solve? What's the solution you offer? And a button to take action if you're interested, right?
And us as marketers, we cringe a little bit when you say simple, because I'm talking very few words on the page. Throw your SEO content in another place on your website. Have the library, have your health guide where everybody can go and download and dive into the research if they so choose.
Video content, all the other assets.
Have your video content. That's even key. Even better because you're getting to the point. They can watch the video if they want. They can put the closed captions on. They can get to it quickly, especially if it's a TikTok type link. But no, bury that. Get your SEO content someplace else or get your video on there. But get to the point quickly.
So clear, simple messaging and make the ask. Make it easy to make that decision because men will make it when they're ready. They need that button there, which we
easy
miss.
is
easy button.
Huge. Don't make them. Don't make your form complicated. Don't ask for verification if you don't have to. Don't have them jump through all of these different hoops and make an account and all of these different things. Try to get to the point. Make it easy because otherwise they'll abandon it.
One caveat question before we move to the next one with men. I'm interested if there is much of a difference shift with digital marketing between a younger male persona and a older male persona, because there is a generational gap in just the technology difference and the willingness to adapt to it. Do men, like say 35 and under, or do they make these decisions at like same type of, they want it simple, clear, or make the kind of impulsive, once I've decided I'm pushing the button and going, as say a 55, 60-year-old male, or has the digital presence technology shifted that at all?
I would say that in fact, the older male generation is one of the fastest growing assimilators of social media, for example. I think that the outcome is the same. They both want an easy, simple process. The motivation is different. So a younger generation, lack of time, wants to move into it, maybe a little bit more convinced on something, doesn't need as much rationale for it. An older generation doesn't really want to be bothered. They just want to get it taken care of. They just want to make the question, they just want to make the decision quickly and get it taken care of and move on, or have somebody make that decision for them. Same outcome, different motivations behind it. And from what we found, our fastest growing is it's actually bridging. So it's the 35 to 55. And we're getting a lot of younger now because of what we're doing digitally, but we still get that older generation as well.
Well, it's
primarily
easier
on Facebook as well.
Like social media, everything has become where it's on your phone, it's easier. And so it isn't a complicated process. You have to understand. That's probably why it has increased in popularity. The last thing before we get to the big secret here is for this episode of How to Market Them In is the results, like focusing on the logic, results driven messaging. Whether they're really truly logical or they're just trying to act like they are, it doesn't matter. You need to present it that way. So is there like there's one key to you look logical. Do you prevent lots of stats? There's the risk of overwhelming people with too much.
Yes.
Where do you strike the balance?
Give them an example is going to be the biggest thing.
Like testimonials like you do.
Give them somebody who can show them that it works. Yes.
That looks like them, sounds like them, maybe,
exactly. That they can picture themselves. Well, right now we have a testimonial spot running where he lost 200 pounds. He's an everyday guy. He's riding his Harley. He's wearing his cutoff shirt and his holes. I mean, give them
it's realistic.
100%.
It's
It's realistic.
achievable.
They can envision themselves in that person, and that
they will
person
be on that Harley.
Exactly.
They will.
And if he can do it,
I
you
can
know
do it
I
too.
can do it.
Yes.
So there's your results. Give them that. They won't shop. They'll take it. They'll buy. They're not going to deal shop. They're not going to spend a lot of time. Just really focus on the functionality and the results. And if you can give them an example that they can see, facts and figures, they like to see it because it shows that maybe you know your stuff. A little bit of that fluff back there, but give them an example.
So what you're saying is here, after listening to these 5 tips, I would be like the perfect endorsement or spokesperson for any product targeting male, because I am like checking off all the boxes.
You do.
Yes,
you do.
I lost 35 pounds, but I haven't worked out in a year and a half. That's like real shit right there.
Did you switch into your radio voice?
I did. That was
You did a little bit. Yeah.
Hello. No. All right. So Jess, this is all super valuable and helpful. The big takeaway here, though, that is the secret to marketing to men: you're actually marketing to women, because women are making the final decision. So the man you need maybe to get his attention to bring him in the door, but it's the woman you need to convince, especially with anything related to health, right?
Oh, absolutely. The latest fact I just read was women make at least 83% of the healthcare decisions for their entire household.
I think it's like 70% of all purchase decisions at home. Yeah.
Yes.
And so a lot of our patients either bring their wives in, or I have to take this back to my wife and we need to go over this and we need to talk about it. Or, oh, my wife bugged me and I had to come in. I mean, she just told me that I had to, come in here and get help.
Women, the wives coming in,
or the
we've
wives
talked
coming
about,
in with us.
and
all
asking
the
more
time.
detailed questions of things that they are not comfortable asking or don't think about.
Or don't think about.
And they're really important things that they're not thinking about.
Correct. Or reminding them of, hey, remember that you felt this way? Oh yeah, that's right. I did feel this and I did have this issue. And so yes, women are the keepers of the information and the keepers of the influence.
Yeah. So honey, did you remember that you still haven't renewed your health insurance? Maybe you should do that. I literally tore like my lower abdomen, groin in the ER. I had to go to the ER over this thing for internal bleeding.
It was jiu-jitsu.
To this
jiu-jitsu class he
the
took.
first move that got demonstrated on me by the instructor, and that happened.
And he was influenced by a woman to go.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
These things always happen in front of women for me. To this day, I'll have like a stabbing pain and I'll be like, and then like Wendy will be like, have you gone in to get that looked at? No, I need to. Like, that's literally the cycle. And so this is helpful, I think, because it is a simplification, because it really is simple. Marketing really is simple. It doesn't matter how you look at it. Like, you can get in the weeds and you can get lost in the weeds. Really, it's a pretty simple game that we're playing here. It's just having the discipline and commitment to actually implement it and stick with it to get the results you want. All right. Well, Jess, thank you so much for coming in. And we'll have to have you back on to talk about women and everything else, because this is really fun, life-changing. I'm going to go return some things.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me. Love it.
One of the first steps to marketing your business to anybody is figuring out what problem do you solve and who are you solving it for? Who is your ideal customer? It's the old buyer persona. You may have Googled it. You may have heard about it. Well, we're going to help you create a 6-step marketing plan that includes everything from figuring out who your ideal buyer persona is to what problem you solve and how you're going to deliver your marketing message effectively to this target market. I know lots of fancy terms, but we make it simple. You can download our 6-step marketing plan. It is free in the show notes.